Welcome back, my friends. This episode, I'm super excited. This is one of the top producers out of Coeur d'Alene. Michaela has been someone that I have really admired since I moved up here about 4 years ago. She has been a good friend and honestly, one that I've kind of found as like a mentor. Honestly, if you want to know that through social media, we're always pinging each other back and forth. I'm excited to learn her journey today about how she became who she is and hopefully give you guys some nuggets and value too. So with that said, let's hear this. So you're here in Coeur d'Alene. Are you a local?
I'm actually not a local. I moved here in 1993 from Southern California. So right after the riots, and my parents were like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And found Spokane, but happened to find Coeur d'Alene in the mix of that. And so here we are, whatever years later, we're here in Coeur d'Alene and love it, of course. And that's why we're selling it.
So what got you into real estate? Obviously, there's something that started and there's probably steps along the way that got you to who you are.
Who I am today. Well, honestly, I didn't really want to do the business. I grew up in the business. And so that was like I remember my parents in the front seat, us three girls in the back seat, and they were both realtors, a commercial agent and a broker. And they would just be talking real estate all the time. And I didn't think that was for me, to be honest. And then getting in after graduating high school, my parents were like, come work for us. And of course, like it was something to do. I didn't really know what I wanted to do right yet. And then shortly after, my dad paid for my class to get into real estate. I reluctantly went. And then that first year I was 2004. That was 2004. I was Rookie of the Year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I decided I liked it.
Just out of the gate.
Yeah. Right out of there. Made 6 figures my first year. And I was like, maybe I do like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Just coming out of the gate swinging, just like Rookie of the Year. You probably picked up a lot, right?
Did.
I mean, for me, I'm always jealous being a golfer. That was like the kids that had a dad that golfed because my dad did not.
Yes. And
You
I
know,
know
so
you're
like,
a huge golfer.
yeah. So like, you probably picked up habits or saw them taking, I don't know, this is probably going into parenting, but like, I think it's cool that like you and I, we have daughters that are similar.
Yes.
We can kind of mold them a little bit in the sense of like, hey, I'm going to go take this call because it is important that I put food on the table, but you are my number one.
Absolutely.
You probably were raised or, felt that.
Absolutely. So my parents, I think one big thing that they did for us, and I want to hear what your parents did for you too, but they worked a lot just like we do. But they always made sure that we were eating dinner at the table together as a family at night. It may have gotten busy after that, but at least we had that time together, which I think is so important.
Yes.
It's hard for entrepreneurs like ourselves. It's hard to balance, our personal, business, friendship, marriage, children, all of those things, God, everything all into one. And so it's really just a huge balancing act that we play.
Yeah.
And but watching my parents like do this and balance it out has really been helpful. I'm sure you probably have felt the same way with your parents.
Yeah. So like my dad's an engineer, so he's kind of calculated. Right?
Uh-huh.
And so I always fought against that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
Yeah.
But I also pulled a lot of those traits, and like he would always make sure that there was something that he did with me. Mm-hmm. That was snowmobiling and dirt biking, right? So like the time that I had with him in the shop was like, oh, that's downtime, right?
Yeah.
And like then there was mom time, like, and I look back and like that's so important.
Totally.
And now where I'm at in this life, I'm like, there is no balance. Like it's like you have to make it a priority to focus on that.
Absolutely.
Like you've got to give that kid an hour.
Absolutely.
Or else they won't get it from you.
It's the most important thing. If you think about like real estate, as we're both in real estate world, is that we are constantly, people want information, people want rates, they want whatever it is, get them qualified, whatever it may be, or how they can get qualified, any of that kind of stuff. And I think if we can try to balance that a little bit easier, it's hard for all of us in any business you're in, but I think we are very good at what we do only because we recognize what is most important, and it's our family.
Yeah.
And if we can keep that ahead, God, family, work, blah blah blah, all the way down.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So for me, my sales journey was a little different, and I've told these guys already.
Yes.
I started door to door.
Okay.
selling alarms. And that's where I got into a lot of self-development, right? Like education for myself.
Right.
So here it sounds like you had your parents that gave you a good, hey, mirror this.
Yes.
This is great.
Yes.
Became rookie of the year, and now you're like a top producer here. So along the way, what investments or education or mentors, or we call it coach, I don't like that word.
Yeah.
I really like what stewards along the way have helped you with this journey?
Right. So I've never hired a coach, to be honest. And I feel very blessed, and I'm very thankful that my mom and my dad, but my mom was the broker, and her and I are very similar. But she took me under her wing and let me be her buyer's agent from the very beginning. And so I was able to do that for her for so many years, learning from her, listening to her, talk to her clients, how that worked. And really how she took care of the client. It was all about the client and the communication, and just letting them know like the good, bad, and ugly, even if it was ugly. And I think that's why people come back to me as an agent, because there is no magic pill to this. It's you and I working together to make this happen. I always say you're in charge of the product, you're in charge of the product, and I'm in charge of the marketing. I can't touch your product. You can't touch my marketing.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of just lets everybody know where you balance and where right? And so that you're here. And I think that's just a huge thing, because it's a team thing. We involve you in it. So there's so many people, lenders, us, title, appraisers, inspectors. It's just, there's so many people involved. And guess what also comes with that? A lot of emotion.
Yes.
And that we deal with that a lot too.
We do.
Yeah. What do you feel is like a challenge that you deal with in your industry that you feel like you've overcome with clients that you feel like is a...
So lending is very complicated. Like we have books that we have to basically put people in.
Yes.
So how to simplify that? And I think that goes back to a lot of where I started from. Like on the doors, you have 30 seconds in order to get that person to actually feed to you.
Right.
And then you got to mirror their energy. And like those little tactics are huge.
Right.
When someone calls me, I have to ask the right questions in order to pull that out of them, but also be not like, here's the rate, here's the payment.
Yes.
And so one thing that I love is mirroring them as fast as I possibly can, their energy, and just be a pitch one above that. Whether that's an engineer or a first-time home buyer, you need to sense that nervousness and that anxiety because I don't want it to become emotional.
Right.
And I always say this, you going and seeing the house is an emotional thing because you're going to sleep with the mortgage.
Yes.
My job is to clarify and get the numbers right and give you all the facts.
It's a good way to put it, sleep with the mortgage.
Because you're the one as an agent that's going to go kind of somewhat play off of those emotions.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Hey, look at this, master, look at this.
Yes.
My job as a lender is to get out of that. Stay out of the way.
Right. Because they typically talk to you about the house too. We found this 3-2 and whatever it is that, so I get that.
Which is fine to pull that in, but you got to come back and make it super simple, because at the end of the day, I want them to feel like Tyler's playing in his sandbox to get me approved.
Yes.
And I don't need to know whether he used a fork or a spoon or a shovel or a bucket. Like, it just needs to be like, he got me approved and
clean. Yes. And I think that's something that probably you and I both agree on, is just a very clean and seamless transaction. I think most buyers feel like it's so hard to buy a house. And I think it's this perception because you have to have this big chunk down and you've got to have this amazing credit and all these things, but there's a ton of great programs for everyone, right?
Correct. Yeah. And like, it's really like a lack of education, right? Because I was self-employed before I was a lender. No one told me how to get loans. I was always denied. And you're, as an agent, that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're like, dude, I got enough to pay cash, but I don't want to pay cash because that's my lump sum of because commissions.
Totally, yes, yeah.
And like, you're just like, teach me.
Yeah.
And so when I was approached to become a lender, I quit my marketing job and quit photography because we wanted to buy a house and start a family.
You bet.
That's
Yeah.
the shift.
Yes. Yep.
And it came out of nowhere. And then when it came to me, I was like, oh my gosh, like I can actually teach people
How to do this.
And like, that's the coolest thing about lending that no one talks about.
Yeah.
It's like, I spend every day being a teacher more than a lender.
Right.
A
Right.
lender is being problem solved and knowing what to do with the
Right.
pieces, but teaching them that, hey, this is what you can do. This is what you should do. And like
Absolutely.
providing opportunities, like
Yes.
that's epic.
Absolutely.
And that builds wealth for people.
Absolutely. Because they're teaching them, instead of saying, let's go for the sale, let's get you into a house, let's get all of this, it's more so, let me show you the best way to do it. Let's not rush this. Let's make sure that this is the best thing for you and your family.
Yeah.
Which is like the best. I love that. That's educating people. I think that's the biggest thing. One of the biggest things in our industry is just education, and letting people know how this can work, showing them how it can work, and then making it really easy for them, simple and not complicated, I guess, for lack of better words.
No, I think you're spot on. I think educating people too on like your talents.
Yeah.
Because I see too many times peers of ours,
Yes.
they instantly go what is on mainstream media
Yes.
and they try to come up with like a problem solution type sell.
Yes.
And that deters from the Tyler experience.
Right. Okay.
Or
Yeah.
the Michaela.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like, I will be 100% me throughout whatever happens.
Yes.
And then, recently jumping over and going to the broker world
Yeah.
has allowed me to go 10x with that, right?
I love that.
Hey, I know a ton about branding. Hey, I know a ton about marketing. Pick my brain. I'm here. I want to help.
Right.
Like the parable of the talents.
Right.
I want to give out 5
Yes. Yes.
instead of just like always take.
Giving out.
Yeah.
Because that always, you end up getting so much more when you give out more and you're educating, not looking to take anything, because that's what we're here for. Just
Totally.
help people.
Yeah.
Help people. And
Yeah.
whether you get anything back. Like, so just educate. I think that's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. It's like, we're not salespeople. We're here to help people, right?
Yep.
And then if it turns into a sale, awesome. If it doesn't, no problem. I feel better
I say
about
I'm
it.
a professional like steward.
Yeah,
I really am, because
Yeah.
I just want stewardship.
absolutely.
I want relationships that last.
Totally. Forever and ever.
Yeah, it's cool to do volume.
Yeah.
You and I have both done
Yeah.
some wicked volume.
Yeah,
And
for
probably outgrown, and like the water was here, we could barely breathe, and our spouses were like, "You're freaking nuts." Like, what is wrong with you?
Mind. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, you look back and you're like, I made a difference in someone's life.
Absolutely.
Like, I shot weddings for 7 years.
Did you? Okay.
Super high stress, but you're capturing a moment.
Yes.
You come to the home buying and process, super stressful. It
Yes.
never ends.
Yes.
And like, that's another one of those where people are like, I remember that person.
Uh-huh.
And how do you continue to push that experience, right?
Yes. Communication.
Yeah.
It's even when the deal is closed, we're done. You and I've closed the deal.
Yep.
We've moved on, and now we've got other people that we're helping too. So I think that what most clients I've heard is that they sold me a house and I never heard from them again.
Right.
So I think that is something that any agent or any lender or anybody in business is to make sure you're still contacting your people. Remember things about them. It's hard to remember every detail of every single party, but remember those things that were important to them and important to you.
Yeah.
And staying in contact with those people. It can be a phone call. It can be stopping by at Christmas. It can be
Yep.
anything. And it doesn't even have to be a holiday. Sometimes it's just stopping by because you're in the neighborhood.
Yep.
Those type of things, I think, are big.
It's funny because my first year of lending,
Yeah.
I didn't have a CRM.
Right.
You would say that as like a lender and a real estate agent, and you're like,
All these documents.
how the
Like,
frick did you do that? And it's like, I would just call people off an Excel sheet and check in. And what it taught me is like, you have to be so genuine, but you have to be invested. Like, I really think, like, you think about our careers recently.
Yeah.
So we had 2020 and 21. Everybody, right? And those that were doing the things right before that happened, 10x'd.
Yes.
Right? Or
Yeah.
yeah, in my case, I felt like I quadrupled my income.
Yes.
But then we go into last year,
Right.
things shifted overnight.
Overnight. Yep.
So you get back into these little nitty gritty things and you start focusing more on yourself because that influences what your business does.
Absolutely.
And you saw it in our industry,
Yes.
those that were willing to invest and lean in.
Yes.
So
Like that, lean in, it's true.
not everybody did that.
No, not everybody.
And they're still not doing that.
No,
And the market honestly feels like it's 2018 and 19 to me.
feels good to me.
I'm still doing stuff.
Me too.
So quick complaint.
We get late, let's go. And kind of like what Even said at the that last one that we did was to see the light. Like there is light in this. So even like this doesn't even have to be recorded, but the part about we've done more this year than we ever have by this date.
Yeah.
We're in a down market,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that I think that's something to be said about that is like you have to see the light in where we are currently. It's still a great market. We're Idaho, which is also an awesome thing. Not every state is this way. We're both seeing this, and we're both busy and things are happening. And we're walking right into spring, which is typically our best time.
Totally.
So I was going to ask you, what's your morning routine?
So I'm pretty dialed in. And the story is I almost got engaged, went into a big dark hole when I was 25. And since that time, I have not shifted my morning routine.
Nice. Okay, so about how many years ago was that? How old are you now?
36 this next month.
7 years.
And like dedicated.
Yeah.
Like,
You do this
I don't miss out very much unless, there's something
sick or something, yeah.
I wake up, I spend 20 minutes to the Lord with like scripture.
Yes.
And then I do another 20 or 30 minutes where I'm either listening to like the book that I'm reading. So I've kind of adapted it where I have a Kindle and I also listen to audio.
Okay.
So I can not miss out. I try to do a book a month.
Your brain is good because you can separate that.
So Rob Dyrdek just had a podcast I listened to, and he talks about you have to brain train every morning.
Okay.
It clicked with me. I'm like, I've been doing that.
Right. I know what that is. Yeah.
And like my theory is that I want to take care of myself. So then I get to the gym at 6. I usually work out for an hour, maybe hit the sauna or whatever that is. But by the time I get back, my little ones are awake.
Yeah.
So I've just spent like an hour and a half to myself.
Yes. You're your best self.
100%.
Yes.
And I dedicated, whatever people do within that hour and a half is up to them.
Absolutely.
But then I come home and like Meg will tell you that like sometimes I'm a dad and sometimes I'm not because like we start getting stuff.
Yeah.
But I really do try to make it to where like I hope one day Holland goes, when dad came home from the gym, he said hi.
Yeah.
Or
sat with me on the couch.
Exactly.
Or whatever. Snuggled with me for a little bit. Yeah.
Made me breakfast.
Yes.
Or had some type of thing there. And then I've honestly found in lending that I don't need to react because of what I did before until 9 o'clock.
So good.
So
good.
Taking care of myself, taking care of being a husband, taking care of being a father.
Right.
Until 9 o'clock. I just woke up at 5. So those 4 hours have already won.
Right. Right.
So I've won the morning. That's what I call it. I've won the morning.
I won the morning. I'm ready to go.
Whatever crap is thrown my way today, and low appraisal. Whatever.
Didn't qualify. Interest rates went up. Whatever it may be.
I took care of my base.
Yes.
I took care of my foundation. I took care of my beliefs. I took care of me.
Yes.
And then it's huge because then I wear the hat of an LO from 9 to 5.
Yes. Yes.
Or 9 to 6, really.
Yes.
It is. But like, you get what I mean? Like I'm dedicated. I don't have to veer off of being a loan officer because my wife also knows like, hey, he's doing this.
He's doing what he needs to do.
Yeah.
He's already done his stuff. Now he's coming in to do work and what you got to do after babies and everything.
I say that until all my kids start playing sports and doing all this. And then I'll have to read all those things. But
that's the season that you're in though right now. Right now, this season is like perfect. That's great. I know I love my alone time in the morning too. Like nobody's awake. The house is still quiet. I come in and work out in downtown Coeur d'Alene, but I do that on my way into work. So I'm at home first. I don't sweat. That's one thing that's crazy about me.
and even just got back from Palm Springs, I sweat.
I do.
And it's hot.
So I can work out. Like, don't check under here, but we're good.
She smells good, guys. We're good.
We're good. I worked out this morning.
Really?
Yeah. That's great. I know. I worked out at 9. So now whatever time it is, 10:30 or
Where do you go here?
Exercise Institute.
Okay.
So I just go and do weights.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
love it though. It's just, it's good more than anything. It's good for my body, but it's good for my mind. It's good for have a little me time. So I have my morning me time. Sounds really selfish almost, but I have my morning.
You have to be.
I know.
You do.
My morning me time alone, which is typically around 5 a.m. And I get my coffee. It's a little bit of time with my dogs. And then make sure that I always want to just make sure everybody's good. Everybody's happy.
The base is secure.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Base is secure. And then I have my coffee, and then I watch a little bit of the news, and then I'm in my emails and emailing people, whatever. Because when I get home, I try to be home at night. That unless it's a 911 situation, I won't jump into my computer. I won't jump into anything other than if it's a deal, because it's so time sensitive. So other than that, everything else can wait till the morning.
Stephen Covey, I don't know, but one of the books I read was lack of preparation creates procrastination.
Yes.
And so one thing I've realized in this industry, lenders, agents, whoever it is, if you're pro-thinking or proactive, you can actually have the nights to yourself.
Absolutely.
And it's okay to tell people I'll get back to you.
Absolutely.
Set the boundaries, because those boundaries, I'm 9 to 6, I'm available 100%. I call it, I'm ready to go for you.
Yes.
But from 6, I am a dad, I am a husband. I'm okay telling people that. And if you don't want to work with me, then I might not be a good fit.
Absolutely.
And I think early in my career, I realized that very quickly.
Yes.
Because coming home and actually trying to detach from my phone and from work.
Yes.
Freaking hard.
It's hard. It's so, as your phone's on and you're like.
So I did something where I put it on do not disturb from 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Perfect.
So you have to be my favorite in order for it to come through.
Okay.
So
I have favorite. Am I a just kidding.
Send me more drills and then we'll talk.
Don't make that happen. I'm just kidding.
No, but I legit kind of make that to where, it is the people that are very core of my life.
Absolutely.
That build me up.
Yep. Your family.
And even some of my agent partners that I work with, we build each other because I don't have a coach.
Right. Never have.
I have coaches in my life already.
Totally.
I don't need to go pay for one.
Totally.
I have my own people. I have my own cheerleaders. I have my own people that are like, dude, Tyler, stop being a bit.
Right.
Go to work.
Go to work, yes.
But those people will call me.
Absolutely.
I have a buddy, his name's Tyler.
Yeah.
We probably talked every other day.
Yeah. Yep. Just to catch up and
And he runs his own business and
same industry?
No, he's actually in neuromonitoring. He'll be on
What is neuro what?
monitoring. So when you go in to have stuff done on your back, he's the guy over there in the corner making sure everything is
aligned.
Yeah, and just the monitors are going good. And anyways, Wicked
is right.
Yeah, he started from zero
and here he is.
Yeah.
I love that. That's cool. Super cool.
But you associate with those type of people?
Totally.
Yeah, I'm okay with the call from them.
Absolutely.
But it's funny, from a lender's perspective, when you get a call at 7 o'clock at night, you're like, hey, I need a pre-approval. It's dude, you showed the house at 3 or 4 or 5.
Right. And I'm your last.
You could have texted me and said, hey, we're going to a house. We might do an offer at this or we might do it. That's cool with me.
Right. Shoot me. I always do this. Shoot me a picture of the house. And now because you've got it in your hand.
100%.
Bam. Need approval letter. Not even a hello.
That's also why you and I are doing the volume we're doing.
Totally.
It's because we are taking care of things before they arrive.
Absolutely.
Because this
being ahead of it before you're behind it.
Yes. This business is all about reacting to problems.
Absolutely.
So nip it in the butt, put it out on the table. This is what's going on.
Yes. It's so true. Because otherwise you're taking it home.
Yep.
So you've got a certain amount of time. It's time management of doing these things.
Yeah.
Not a lot of talky in the office. Get your job done so that you can go talky with your friends, be with family, whatever it may be.
Yeah, your husband actually,
we did a scout thing. You got to bring your scout and we got to do a Bronco thing.
We do. He showed me the calendar. He's like, yeah, we have this blocked off where we just have to talk to each other for an hour. I'm like, that's brilliant. And then I was like, here, let me show you mine. He's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, I got it mapped out every single hour of the day.
Yes. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, it works.
It works though.
Works.
And if you don't have a schedule, like let's say that you don't like to put your schedule on your phone. I do the same thing. It's on my phone, so wherever I am, I can find it. But at least you're scheduling. I think this is huge. You're scheduling your days, but on something that I do that I feel works and is really helpful for my business too, is my team meets every week. Whatever day that is for you, whatever day that works. Every single week we're meeting and we're looking at our schedule for the next 2 weeks. And what do we have for the next 2 weeks going on? So is it open houses this weekend? Is it open houses next weekend? We all have a printout printout calendar that we're writing in, but we're also putting in our phones when we're done. So you see it, it's on your desk, everybody has it, we're all writing the same thing. And then planning for the whole entire week is education. You better be putting some stuff in your tool belt because everything's changing constantly, right? Open houses, what do we have going on? Our closings, what's happening? Do we need closing gifts? Like there's so much that goes into this big puzzle. I think a lot of folks think that for you and I, that it's just doing the loan, showing the house.
Yeah.
That's that much of what we do,
Totally.
right?
I think that's cool though, because I actually weekly plan every Sunday morning.
Do you? That's your time.
I wake up before we go to church and before all the girls get up. And I probably haven't been as disciplined as I should, but when I've found success, it's when I do that, where I wake up on Sunday and I actually think, I know we want to put Sunday as the day of the Lord, but like that's where I'm trying to make sure that I take care of that so I can.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I focus on like, hey, this week I need to reach out to this person.
Right.
These are my hot topics, right? And I need to go get X amount of applications in order to generate this. And where am I going to get these leads? So like I actually think through that. So it's in the back of my mind and it kind of stews there to where on Monday it's like, I'm already thought for maybe 24 hours.
Right.
And
It's already, now it's just on paper, right?
Monday is my day where it's like, yeah, that is a hell day for me.
Absolutely.
Like I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to show up. There's sometimes knots in my stomach.
Totally.
Doesn't matter how long I've been doing this. It still happens.
It's true. It's so true.
But I show up.
You still sometimes absolutely wake up where you are feeling like a little kind of nauseous, or you're feeling like a little bit like, oh God, I have so much going on. Am I gonna be able to take care of it all? And what do? We take care of it all. It will be done, right? What if you don't have any business? What if you find yourself, which just happened to both of us, where you're like, I'm a little quiet. What would you plan to do if that was your Sunday where you're writing what you're planning to do? What does that look like? If you're writing for your Monday and your week, what do you put on there?
No, I'm totally going to be real and transparent with you. So November, I closed one loan. December, I closed one loan. January, I closed one loan and I switched and went into the broker world.
Yes.
February, I closed one loan. March, I closed 3.
Okay.
Now we're like end of April.
Yes.
Closed maybe 3.
Yes.
Not the volume I want.
Yes.
But you have to modify it. And so I focused on my personal really quick. Okay, how many books am I actually reading? Okay, what can I do? So I got my broker's license, which is not an easy feat. So I had to bust that out in like 35 days.
Okay.
So that took some time, right? And then the next thing is like, okay, I want to see what I can get my body percent fattage down to. And I wanted to do,
which I've noticed.
Yes. So I focused on that because that dictates winning, and it will transfer over to something.
Absolutely. Yep. I get
golf has always been a big part of me. So I wanted to lower my handicap, which I've done now.
Okay.
And those things always mirror what goes on in your business.
Absolutely.
And I think so many people forget like self-development is like top priority.
It is. Yeah.
Like stop focusing so much on like leads and like all this other stuff, because if you're doing the right things with the right execution, the right people come in your life.
Absolutely.
And in our business, it's easy to go be desperate. We saw that this last.
Yes.
I totally could have went to everybody and just been like, oh my gosh, blah, 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 blah.
Try this. Yeah.
But what value is that? What is that the Tyler experience I want to portray? Is like,
no.
I hope I'm, letting you know, like, hey, Tyler's like pumping out videos now.
Right. Which
So
has been
focus on
awesome.
that.
Yes.
Tyler's focused on value, educating,
Yep.
and like, man, he's got his head together. Or like,
Absolutely.
whatever. Like, you got to dictate that to your brand.
Right.
But too often when we don't have anything to do, we start scrambling and we get in a scarcity mindset. When we're in a scarcity mindset, then all of a sudden, like,
You find everybody else
shit,
that's scared,
like it just,
and everybody's scared with you.
and that's when you become a sheep.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true.
It's bad.
I know. It's true though. Like when you become scared or the market's changing, you tend to grab those other people that are also scared too. And you're like, come here, come, everybody congregate together. But when you're with people that are looking outside of the scared, and only because I went through the 2008, 2009 market too, that this is not that market at all. And I think the public needs to know that, well, at least in Idaho, Northern Idaho, I don't know the whole state, but nonetheless, that it is still such a great market. It's an opportunity market. I think that's the best thing is like, this is the time where you can negotiate your rates. This is the time you can negotiate the price. Let us do the negotiating for you and get them into a situation.
Yeah.
But I think that, like you were saying, like educate, put some things in your belt where you've got your broker's license. It's tremendous. When you have time, make it worth it.
Yeah.
Right? When you've got some extra
You're
time.
gonna laugh.
No, because all of a sudden it's going to be like, even like my Quinn that works on my team.
Yeah.
She's like, I think
Quinn's awesome.
She's awesome. She's like, I don't think I'm going to do an open house this weekend. I'm like, that's totally fine because guess what? We just got more listings and you're going to be busy for the next 6 weeks probably. So go enjoy your family. Let's do open houses in the next week or whatever.
Well, and there's seasons, right? Like, the one thing, like going over to the broker world, starting potentially my new own team and all these things, right? Like, I dialed in my sales process. I dialed in my follow-up. Like, we've already talked about follow-up and like, how can I impact the relationships I have? That takes time.
It does.
And you got to research it, and you're not going to get income from it.
Yes.
But you're building for the 10x opportunity. And I'm looking at a 5-year play, not a 6-month play.
Absolutely.
And if you talk to a top producer, they're like, cool. This was the season where I got to hang out with my family.
Totally.
And I still went and, worked the phones and worked like I normally do.
Right.
Nothing's shifted.
No.
I just didn't have the income that I had, but like I believe in myself that it will happen.
Yes. And
that's cool.
that is cool. And just
But
having
not everybody's that way. When was the time that like you believed in yourself enough to do that? Because you went out on your own.
I did.
Right?
I did.
So there's got to be a story there where you're similar to me, where it's like, cool, this soon just
I can't get past any of this. I'm trying to get there. It was really 2000, so 2009, 2010, 8, 9, 10 was the crash. And I actually stepped away from real estate. I kept my real estate license, and I worked at a local bank, and I was a teller at first, and then I was a personal banker.
no way. And that dude,
Yep.
epic.
So I ended up doing that for about 2.5 years.
Okay.
And so I could feel the market. I was selling here and there, but it was like a house or two a year. Like it was nothing good. And basically from people that I met from the bank or past clients. Wasn't that many people. So anyways, at that point, I could feel the market changing. And I was like, okay, I can kind of feel it's changing. I'm going to take this risk. I had $200 in my account. And I jumped back in the market and decided I'm going to do this. I'm going to get back in. My parents are like, if something happens and it doesn't work, we'll help you. But knowing that they're not helping me to give me money. They're helping me and I pay them back. But I jumped back in. That year, I also met my husband.
So good.
Yes. And so it was just like at that point, we met, him and I, and he's as you know, he's a go-getter. Yep. Like I am too. And we just continued. We helped each other get in our seasons of where we were at that time. We helped each other and it was like game on. And that's when your homegirl came. As I sat at my desk, I was by myself. I made a rule that I would be in the office at 9:00 every morning, even if I had nothing to do. Mm. And I think that is huge. I say this too. You can't do laundry in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. You have to do laundry in the laundry room. So you can't do work outside your office or your place, wherever that is, home, whatever it is. You can't do work outside of that. So I started showing up for work. And your homegirl was born, I guess you say, for lack of better words, in 2012. And ever since, I've been just going for it. And it was just me showing up. That's it. Because if you sit in your office and you're just sitting and doing coffee and, walking around talking to other people for no reason, that's really not beneficial to you, your business, your family, your mental health, anything. But if you're out doing business and creating business and doing classes and learning from your colleagues, that's huge. Get around people that are doing what you want to do.
Yeah, two things there.
Yes.
I call my desk the cockpit. Because it is dialed in for efficiency. And it is dialed in for the morning to make the most happen within that time. So from 9 to lunch, it's full on cockpit mode.
Yes.
And
do you wear a headset?
Oh yeah.
You are ready to go. I can imagine.
I'm that guy. I'm that guy. I've been teased so much in the past by other LOs. They're like, dude, it looks like you're a gamer and you just stepped into this. And it's like,
is your chair high?
Yes.
I can see it. I can see it. Yes.
I mean, I am fully dialed in with monitors, all that good stuff. And the reason is because I learned a long time ago when I was doing design and marketing and video editing and all those things, that having the right tools at the right time and having everything in front of you,
yes,
you can get 10x done.
Absolutely.
And so it's the same with what you're talking about. Like, the homegirl showed up to the office. The office was dialed with what she needed.
Yes.
And she ripped through and she showed up and she was disciplined enough to actually get on the phones or to do what she's supposed to do.
Yes. It was really at that point, it was creating a brand. I remember going in not having really much to do. And that's when I created my brand. That's when I created Your Homegirl. And then I was like, okay, now I got this. And I've already, you have your business cards, you're already ready to go with your stuff. And then I started to ask for open houses, that I would start open houses. So now I'm in during the week, I'm in during the weekend. This business doesn't come easy. And we know that, you and I know that. So that's something that I think is really important for people to know, that this is a grind.
And I think my career, even recently, I just shared, I didn't have the volume I wanted, but the Fridays when you show up and you're like, oh man, you force yourself to sit in that cockpit.
Totally.
And start researching what you can do.
Yes.
What can I control? What can I do?
Right.
Okay, let's go research. What is this mortgage lender doing in Dallas?
Yes.
I don't have time to do that any other time. My wife and kids are not around.
Yeah.
I'm going to devote right now. How can I mirror from one of the greats?
Yes.
Right? Hey, what are they doing?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then you go off on a tangent and it's funny. I know for myself, I've spent a couple Fridays where there's at least 6 hours of doing that.
Yes.
But then that slingshots the next week, because it also gives me material to build value for when I talk to an agent or when I talk to a borrower. And I just don't think my generation typically, or younger generations, they don't understand educating yourself is the most vital power that you have.
Absolutely.
And if you don't do it, then you're lost.
You're lost.
No one's going to tell you what to do or how to do it.
No. And you're so lost in that you don't know the current.
Yeah.
So you're not a person of education. You're not there. You're in I always call it the elevator speech. How's the market? Yeah. It's all right, or whatever it may be.
I was under 1,000 listings, and it's that doesn't pitch you.
No. And so you've got to say your elevator speech. Any agent, any lender, anybody, your elevator speech. You've only got a couple seconds to tell somebody what the market's doing. Yeah. So I think you've got to have that. You've got to know your data.
Yeah.
And if you don't know it, figure it out. Right.
Third, 3 things that you feel like has made you who you are.
I think it's my personality.
Okay.
That's from my mom and my dad. Thanks, Mom and Dad. My personality, I think it's one of my favorite is that just people trust me. People know I'm going to give them the right answer. Not the right answer, I shouldn't say that. People know that I'm going to give them the true and honest answer, whether it be good, bad, or ugly. And
those are a solid 3.
Boom.
I'm serious.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay. Your solid 3.
My solid 3, I'm disciplined.
Okay.
I show up.
I love that. Yep.
And then 2, I'm actually very an emotional guy. Then I would say I'm an organized dreamer. And what I mean by that is like, I'd love to put my head in the clouds, but I also know I got to put my nose in the dirt. So I love thinking about, I want to become a $100 million loan officer. What does that take?
Yes.
Cool. Switch, nose in the dirt, go.
And go and do.
You know, and not a lot of people are dreamers and can transition to that. So like, I've adapted that. I wouldn't say that was a skill in the beginning, but yeah, I've adapted to that.
That's not easy.
Yeah.